selling their cars, selling their VWs into Britain. Does anybody seriously think the German government is going to say to them, you cannot sell your cars in Britain anymore? It is a nonsense. We are a huge market for German cars, for French dairy products, even, ladies and gentlemen, for French champagne. I hope we're going to be drinking a lot more of that after the 23rd of June as we celebrate our election. And of course, as Nigel rightly said, the opportunities today for our children, for our businesses, for our society are not actually in Europe, they are further around the world. Europe's been left behind economically. It's in Asia, it's in Africa, it's in South America, it's in the Commonwealth. It is a nonsense that we as the principal country in the Commonwealth cannot even do a free trade deal with the countries that we've been close to for so long. That has surely got to change. And then we need to take back control of our borders, take back control of our immigration system. Now, our national statisticians are saying that our population is going to rise from 63 million today to 80 million over the course of the next 20 or 25 years. I do not believe we can possibly sustain an increase in population on that level. We haven't got the school places, as we learned today, we haven't got the hospitals, we haven't got the roads, we haven't got the housing. And for the next generation looking to get on the housing ladder, how on earth can they hope to do so if we are bringing a city the size of Newcastle in population terms into this country every year? We have got to set limits on the number of people. And this is not about being little Englanders. We are standing in the hall where 75 years ago, a group of Staffordshire miners came together to pledge to raise funds to rebuild the coal mining area of Lidice in Czechoslovakia, which was destroyed in the Second World War. This is a city that's always been outlooking, that will always want to be a part of the international community, but it does not mean we have to give up control of our country to do so. Exactly. So I want us to be able to set limits. I want us to be able to manage the flows of people into and out of the United Kingdom. I want us to be able to control our immigration system. And we can only do that if we leave the European Union. I want us to take back control of the money we spend on the European Union, the money we send to Brussels every week. £350 million per week is our overall contribution. Now, we get some of it back, of course we do. And one of the messages I want to give is that when we do take back control of that money, of course we will still support our farming communities. Of course we will still support our scientists. You'll hear lots of stories that say somehow they'll lose all the money they get. I just don't think we need to give it to Brussels to give back to us in the first place. We can give it to them in the first place. And even after we've done all of that, there's still £10 billion a year left over. Money that we could and should be spending on public services like our National Health Service, which can always benefit from more money. It's a very high price to pay for giving up control of our country. And we need to take back control of our democracy. And I'm a Democrat. I believe in democracy, I believe in elections. I believe, as Nigel said, that if you don't agree with us, and I stand in front of you in a Labour city as a Conservative Cabinet Minister, and I'm sure there's plenty of people in this room who would like to see my colleagues and I lose office in 2020 and to elect a Labour government, and I respect you for that. That is the essence of what a democracy is. But the thing is, we have less and less control over our country. And that's today. It's already the case that we seldom get our way in Europe. Do you know how many times, when we have disagreed with the European Commission, and we voted against them in the European Council, do you know how many times we've been on the winning side in a vote? Never. Not once. And when we go to the European Court and argue the case for Britain, almost always we lose too. So already we've given up huge swathes of our democracy. And I see, and other government ministers see, coming across our desks all the time, examples of new European laws that we don't want, but we cannot stop. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is just the start of it. Because the other argument I want you to make to those doubters in your household is that they're not voting on June the 23rd for or against the European Union as it is today, because the European Union is about to change. Now, you'll hear a lot from the Remain campaign about staying in a reformed European Union. Now, I have to say their idea of a reformed European Union, A, it's not on the table, but B, it's very different to the reforms that are actually coming down the track in the European Union. And I'll tell you now, for a start, there's a whole raft of new pieces of European legislation waiting in the cupboard to be unveiled after the referendum. There is a tidal wave of more European legislation down the road. But it's actually much more than that, because you know they set up the single currency. And you know it's been going through the most extraordinary tribulations in the last few years. And they've all worked out you cannot have a single currency without a political union. You can't have one country, one currency without being effectively one country. And that's where they're going. You listen to the Germans, you listen to the Italians, you listen to the French, they are all saying the same thing. We have got to integrate further. The European Union institution presidents have produced a report called the Five Presidents Report that sets a path to a political union in 2025. And I want you to just imagine what the map of the European Union is going to look like in 2025. There's going to be this huge big blob, the Federation of the Eurozone, effectively one country, effectively the United States of Europe. And there's going to be us and Denmark bolted on the sides. They are the only two countries, we are the only two countries not committed to be part of this. So just how much say do you think we are going to have in the councils of the European Union when that has happened? It would be like owning 5% of a business when somebody else owns all the rest. You may have a seat at the table, but you have absolutely no say at all in how it's run. That is where we're going to end up, and that is why the message you give must be about not just the European Union as it is today, but what it is going to become in the future. So, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard tonight from a great range of speakers setting out for you the reasons we have to leave. You've heard Nigel's passions, you've heard the analysis of Tom, you've heard Peter's wisdom about these matters. But actually, tonight is not about us. Tonight is about all of you. Because this is a campaign that is about people, not party, and it is for every single person in this room to play a role in that campaign. We cannot win it without you. We cannot win it if you don't get out to your friends and neighbours. We cannot win it if you do not say to them, these are the reasons that we need to leave. This is a country, I believe, that wants to leave the European Union, but it needs to be reassured that it can do so and can flourish and prosper in the future. You know, and I know, that we will succeed outside the European Union, that we will flourish outside the European Union, we will build a prosperous future for all of our citizens outside the European Union. But this really has got to be a team effort. The team effort, it's already started, but it certainly carries on after tonight. And we are depending upon all of you to make sure that on June the 23rd, Stoke votes to leave the European Union. And the thing that we have, which the other side do not, is your commitment. There's no hall down the road in Stoke tonight or anywhere else in the country full of people like this saying we want to stay in the European Union.
That's true, isn't it?
But you're here, and around the country there are thousands like you because you believe we must take our country back.
Yeah.
We want our country back, and ladies and gentlemen, we'll get our country back. So to all of you tonight, I say thank you for being here. Thank you for everything you've done already. Thank you for the things that you're going to do. Ladies and gentlemen, it is in your hands to make sure that Stoke votes to leave the European Union, and I'm confident on June the 23rd we will have the result we want, and ladies and gentlemen, we will vote to leave the European Union. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chris. And before Richard Tice leaves the building, Mr. Tice, come back. He hasn't. There we go. Thank you, Chris, so much for an inspiring speech. It's great to have an audience that gives a standing ovation to a Labour politician